And the Indiana Fever have pulled off the upset, the 6th seed, beating Vegas 89-73 to take Game 1.
Everyone said the Indiana Fever had no chance. Analysts on ESPN dismissed them, oddsmakers laughed them off, and the reigning two-time champion Las Vegas Aces were already looking ahead to a sweep. But on the very night Aya Wilson was crowned MVP, in front of the Aces' own home crowd, the Fever stunned the basketball world by stealing Game 1. This wasn't just another upset, it was a team missing 6 players rewriting the entire playoff narrative in one night. What made it even more powerful was Caitlin Clark's post-game message to her teammates, words that have since gone viral and are being called a rallying cry for the future of this franchise. This win didn't just keep the series alive, it shifted the energy of the entire postseason. If you're fired up for the Fever, drop fired up in the comments and let the world know how proud you are of this team. What happens when a team limps into the playoffs missing 6 players, dismissed by every analyst, and staring down the reigning two-time champions? You get the Indiana Fever's greatest test of belief, heart, and resilience. A night that was scripted to celebrate someone else, Aya Wilson's MVP crowning, suddenly flipped into the Fever's defining moment. Against every odd and every expectation, they seized the stage, turning doubt into fuel and silence into shock. What was supposed to be a coronation for the champs became a statement from the underdogs: we're here, and we're not backing down.
Killer matchup, Aces Fever, Game 1. We're not deciding the whole series right now, just Game 1.
Should we do it together?
I think we should do it together,
Okay.
because my spidey sensors telling me they might be the same. 3, 2, 1.
Aces.
They're not going to lose after she just won MVP.
Yeah, period.
There's no way.
No way.
Okay, I see
No
what
way.
From the very beginning, this series wasn't framed as competition, it was framed as inevitability. ESPN panels dismissed it as a short, predictable matchup. Sportsbooks didn't even bother weighing the Fever's chances, instead setting lines on how wide Las Vegas's margin of victory would be. The tone surrounding the pregame wasn't about opportunity, but survival. Headlines painted Indiana as little more than a speed bump on the Aces' march to another finals appearance. The unspoken message was blunt: if the Fever could simply avoid embarrassment, that would be considered an accomplishment. But on the court, Indiana had other plans.
The Fever had no business winning a playoff series this year, had no business advancing to the semifinals for the first time in a decade, and yet here they are, eliminating the Atlanta Dream in Atlanta without Caitlin Clark, without Sophie Cunningham, without Sid Colson, without Erin McDonald, without Chloe Bibby. The hospital squad is on the bench, and yet the Indiana Fever are into the semifinals of the WNBA playoffs.
Then came the injury list: Caitlin Clark sidelined, Sophie Cunningham out, Sydney Colson, Chloe Bby, Ari McDonald, Dyrus Dantas also missing. 6 key players, gone. The Fever no longer just looked like underdogs, they looked like a team held together with tape and sheer will. The narrative shifted from competition to survival. Analysts and fans alike weren't asking whether they could win, they were questioning if they could even show up. The season seemed written off before a single tip-off, and yet, in the shadow of doubt, the Fever were about to prove that grit and heart could rewrite the story.
And then the coaching of Stephanie White. She is working with a 9-woman rotation, and 5 of those players did not even touch the court the last time the Fever played the Dream during the regular season, and 3 of those players weren't even on the team. I cannot say it enough. The Indiana Fever should not be here. They continue to be here. They battle. They're resilient. It's wildly impressive. Caitlin Clark wore the black Air Force Ones again. They had one of those forces lifted in the air like a beacon of hope, and now they'll face the Aces.
Picture the scene in Las Vegas before tip-off, championship banners hanging high, the crowd buzzing with anticipation, every eye fixed on what was supposed to be a coronation. At center court, Aya Wilson was being honored with her MVP trophy, a moment that wasn't just about her brilliance, but about cementing the story everyone expected: Vegas as the unstoppable powerhouse, Indiana as little more than background noise. In that arena, the Fever weren't just underestimated, they were almost invisible, shadows in their own semifinal debut. Every cheer for the Aces underscored the narrative that Indiana had no chance, no presence, and no story worth telling. And yet, that invisibility would become the canvas for one of the most shocking performances in playoff history.
Actually just referenced it twice. It is Indiana. Dropped 2 of the 3 games to them this year, but you haven't seen them since late July. What excites you about that matchup?
That they haven't seen the real Aces yet. They caught us when we were a bit in turmoil. Not only that, they whooped us one of those stretches. So, you know what, we'll buckle in, hone in where we can, and take care of business.
And yet, sports have a way of flipping the script when expectations are at their most rigid. History is full of underdog runs, teams dismissed before a single ball was tipped, squads that weren't supposed to share the same floor with champions. In Las Vegas, you could feel that same electricity building. This wasn't just the opening of a playoff series. For Indiana, Game 1 was their chance to claim a seat at the table and announce that they were here to fight, no matter the odds. By the final buzzer, the narrative had shattered. The spotlight on Aya Wilson's MVP celebration dimmed as the Fever claimed the moment for themselves, walking out of Las Vegas with an 89-73 victory. It marked their first semifinal win in nearly a decade, leaving the basketball world stunned. Yet, the real shock wasn't just the collective triumph. It was one player who seized the night, transforming it into her own unforgettable stage and etching herself into playoff lore.
Respect everyone, fear no one. Sounds in the chat. Dub. That's one. Big time.
While all eyes were on Aya Wilson lifting her MVP trophy, nobody saw Kelsey Mitchell quietly preparing to rewrite the narrative. It was meant to be Wilson's night, the defending champions asserting dominance at home, the story already penned before the tip-off. But Mitchell refused to let Indiana fade into the background. Every drive, every shot, every defensive hustle became a statement, transforming the semifinal opener into her own personal masterpiece. By the final whistle, the conversation across the league had already pivoted. Talk wasn't about Vegas celebrating an MVP, it was about Indiana's resilience and Mitchell's unforgettable performance.
Semi-final appearance. Just what's your emotional state right now?
Normal, I think. It's practice. Trying to prepare like anybody else would, like any other day. But keep the main thing. That's all you can do.
Kelsey Mitchell has long been recognized as an elite scorer, yet she's often mentioned in the shadow of bigger names in the WNBA. Heading into this series, all the chatter revolved around whether Aya Wilson could maintain her dominance, if Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray could overpower the Fever, or if Indiana could even hold their own on the floor. Hardly anyone predicted that Mitchell would be the one to redefine the matchup. And yet, true to form, she let her play do the talking. Every basket, every clutch moment, every display of determination became a rebuttal to the doubts and dismissals, proving that sometimes the most impactful voices are the ones that speak without words, through sheer performance.
Yourself.
Yeah.
How would you explain to her to make sure that you give yourself grace and give you the flowers that you so willingly deserve?
Ooh, I think the best thing I could have done was, I had a list. I had a long list. I wrote down a list of all the times I could have quit, been a pro, playing with the Indiana Fever. I wrote down all the people that wrote me off. I wrote it down on a list. I wrote down all the coaches that didn't want me around. I wrote down all the media outlets that didn't want to talk to me. I think that within itself is like, you gotta tell your younger self not to give up on you. Because it's been a lot of times I could have given up when I know a lot of people that talk to me now weren't talking to me, and I know what it was like when they wasn't. So that part is big for me.
Mitchell didn't just score, she dismantled the Aces in every possible way. When defenders fought through screens, she punished them with smooth mid-range pull-ups. When they sagged for even half a heartbeat, she buried deep threes without hesitation. At the stripe, she was flawless, calmly knocking down all 6 of her free throws. It was a masterclass in versatility, inside, outside, and everywhere in between. Mitchell looked completely untouchable. And the numbers backed it up. 34 points on 12 of 23 shooting, 4 for 6 from beyond the arc, and perfect at the line. It wasn't just efficient, it was relentless, the type of performance that doesn't just win games.
Time keeping the pivot foot alive and going strong side for Wilson.
Mitchell this time finds a lane to the basket. Inside to Turner. Nice look from Mitchell, which follows 5 Eastern time on ESPN. Mitchell. Lot of arc on that and a couple of bounces.
It redefines them. That 34-point explosion wasn't just a statement, it was history. No Indiana Fever player had topped 30 points in a playoff game since 2012, and never before had anyone in WNBA history scored that much in their very first semifinal appearance. Mitchell didn't just rise to the occasion, she rewrote it. Her performance now lives in the same breath as legends like Lauren Jackson and Cynthia Cooper, only she went one step further by surpassing them. Think about the context. On the road, against the defending champions, on the very night the league's MVP was being celebrated, Mitchell carved her name into the record books. It wasn't just a performance, it was a defining moment in WNBA playoff history.
Done that. 5-point advantage for Indy. Trying to go inside. Terrific defense by Mitchell to deny Lloyd. It's Mitchell, guarded by Evans. Screen from Turner. Kelsey Mitchell knocks down another shot.
No one is accountable for Hall.
Mitchell, come on.
And even from the sideline, the impact was undeniable. Caitlin Clark, unable to suit up because of injury, captured the moment with just 2 words posted across social media: Kelsey, unreal. No long speech, no drawn-out reflection, just raw respect from the young star to the veteran who had just put the team on her back. It was a simple message, but it carried weight, showing not only how much Mitchell means to the Fever, but also how deeply her teammates value her ability to rise when everything is on the line.
Who's going to step up, and how can the Aces find an edge?
Another good cut to the basket, this time by Turner.
The Las Vegas Aces are running out of time because the Indiana Fever making passes with That's right.
Boston. Triple team, kicks it out. Kelsey Mitchell.
Even Aces head coach Becky Hammon, never one to hand out praise lightly, admitted after the game that her team had no answer for Mitchell. That acknowledgement alone underscored the level of control Mitchell had over every possession that night. This wasn't luck, and it wasn't some one-off fluke. It was Mitchell at the peak of her powers, dismantling a championship defense and proving, once again, that her name belongs in every conversation about the league's most dangerous guards. The symbolism couldn't have been louder.
You could start on the defensive end. I mean, clearly we had no answer for Mitchell. Couldn't even attempt to slow her down a little bit. I thought it was really poor.
On the very court where Aya Wilson was being crowned MVP, Kelsey Mitchell was quietly carving out her own throne. It was as if she were declaring, "We've got a most valuable player, too, and she's wearing Fever red, blue, and yellow." Her 34 points weren't just a career night, they were a statement of defiance, proof that Indiana refused to play the supporting role in someone else's story. The script said Vegas would dominate the paint, impose their size and strength, and lean on their MVP to bully Indiana inside. Instead, the Fever flipped that assumption on its head, using defense and tempo as weapons. What unfolded wasn't just resistance, it felt like a blueprint, a glimpse at how to dismantle the defending champions piece by piece. At the center of it all was Aaliyah Boston.
Hall had that great steal to seal the win against Atlanta. Great start for Aaliyah Boston.
Definitely the slasher.
Boston and Wilson, 2 former South Carolina players. Asia can't find the bottom of the net.
5'11". Odyssey Sims and Kelsey Mitchell 5'8".
Boston up, under, and in.
Really having her battle.
Asia
handed one of the toughest defensive assignments imaginable, guarding Aya Wilson. Fresh off being crowned MVP, Wilson is a force who thrives in the post, stretches defenses, and attacks with relentless energy. Her mission was simple: make Wilson uncomfortable. Every catch was contested, every move nudged off balance, every attempt to find rhythm met with resistance. By pushing Wilson off her sweet spots and forcing resets, Boston tilted the entire battle in Indiana's favor, proving that defense could be just as defining as any scoring run.
Use efforts in us. So that's got to change this second half.
Coach, you're shooting under 40 from the field, about 7.
Get about it.
All right, thank you very much, Coach Hannon. And let's go over now to Angel Gray. Terasia. Spins, counters, doesn't get the bounce.
I am just so impressed.
Oh, Boston just faked Wilson out of her.
It worked. Wilson still managed 16 points and 13 rebounds, numbers that, at first glance, look solid. But the real story was her rhythm, or more accurately, the lack of it. That constant irritation didn't just slow Wilson, it disrupted the entire Vegas offense, a team built on her ability to dictate tempo and momentum. Boston didn't erase the league's MVP, but she did something just as valuable: she made her look human.
Lexi Hull had that great steal to seal the win against Atlanta. A great start for Leah Boston.
And in this matchup, that alone was a victory. Beyond Boston's battle in the paint, Indiana's wings had to rise to the challenge, and they did. Lexi Hull drew the unenviable task of guarding Jackie Young, one of the league's most dynamic scorers. When Indiana needed answers on the other end, she delivered with timely threes, showing that her impact stretched beyond defense. Her effort wasn't just about neutralizing an all-star, it was about sparking confidence across the Fever lineup, proving that toughness and execution can swing a playoff game.
5 minutes. One shot. Rebound. Stay high. We're good. Good job, Kels.
Keep playing great defense.
Yeah.
Stay on the ground.
Yep. Switch.
2 minutes to go in the quarter. Hull left open for three, and she hits it. Much needed. Odyssey. Thought about it, but boy, her shooting's on point, so...
The Fever also had Odyssey Sims bringing relentless energy every time she touched the ball. She attacked with fearlessness, driving straight into the teeth of Vegas's defense, splitting lanes, and forcing the Aces into foul trouble. The champions, usually so comfortable controlling rhythm, suddenly looked like the ones scrambling to adjust. That change rippled through the game, allowing Indiana's defense to get set possession after possession, locking in and feeding off the chaos Sims created on the other end.
Anticipation there by Brianna Turner. She's been on a couple WNBA all defensive teams, and she has really been key for them on that end of the floor in these playoffs.
Sims, yet again.
That's a tough matchup.
Which follows 5 Eastern time on ESPN. Mitchell. Lot of arc on that and a couple in the regular season in Asia. In the entire league. And Sims, they gave her just that space and she took.
Natasha Howard provided the steady backbone Indiana needed, quietly anchoring both ends of the floor with another double-double on defense. She protected the lane with toughness and timing, shutting down easy looks and making Vegas work for every attempt inside. Her consistency didn't grab headlines like Mitchell's scoring burst, but it gave Indiana the balance and stability that championship-caliber upsets are built on. Brianna Turner may not have stuffed the box score, but her fingerprints were all over the game. By the end of the night, the numbers told the story. Indiana outscored the Aces 50-38 in the paint, transforming what was supposed to be their biggest weakness into one of their defining strengths. Turner's impact wasn't flashy, but it was foundational to the Fever's stunning win. When the final buzzer sounded,
Her strength, her athleticism. There were 3 or 4 Seattle players right there, but Jackie Young made the game winner.
Fade away from Natasha Howard. To the ball on the block. Now the shot clock is winding down. Young doing a good job keeping Kelsey Mitchell away from the basket, but the Fever...
Even Aces coach Becky Hammond conceded what had become undeniable. Indiana had won the categories that mattered most: pace, defense, and urgency. That single admission revealed the truth. This wasn't about luck, nor was it just one of those nights where the shots happened to fall. The Aces know that. Their fans know that. Which means Game 2 looms like a do-or-die battle for Vegas, a chance to claw back control before the hole gets too deep. For Indiana, it represents the most critical 40 minutes of their season. Win, and they head home up 2-0 with a chance to close it out in front of their own fans. Lose, and the series resets, the momentum gone, and all that shock from Game 1 reduced to a memory.
About the performance, the urgency, and the response you had when they made a couple runs late.
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, our group has seen it all. We wanted to come in and be the aggressor right away, to make sure that we were dictating on the defensive end, and we were dictating from a pace standpoint. They're champions for a reason. We knew that they were going to make runs. They made a big one in the third, and we responded with a big one. I'm proud of our team. It's one game, it's a long series, so we got to keep the main thing. But to come in here and to be able to steal this one was big for us.
Championship teams don't just respond to losses; they redefine themselves through them. The Aces have been down this road before, absorbing early playoff blows only to bounce back stronger with rapid-fire adjustments. That's their edge, the ability to learn in hours what takes other teams weeks. Don't expect them to come out flat again, expect them to come out swinging. Aya Wilson, in particular, will be on a mission for redemption. She doesn't take kindly to being slowed down, and Vegas will make it a priority to put her in high-efficiency scoring spots from the opening tip. And that flips the question squarely onto Indiana: can they handle being the team in control? Winning as the overlooked underdog is one thing. Following it up with another victory when the defending champs throw every counterpunch at you, that's the tougher test. Can Kelsey Mitchell find her same scoring rhythm once the traps and doubles come? Can Aaliyah Boston keep Wilson off balance for a second straight game, or will the MVP break free? These aren't minor challenges, they're the exact battles that define whether a shocking upset turns into a series-defining statement. This is where the idea of a championship moment comes into focus.
We've got to keep the main thing, and that is us playing to a standard of basketball that we want to have as an Indiana Fever organization and franchise. We've got to keep our layers, the outside, the people in our building, and the people in our locker room. And the thing I'm just so proud of with this group is it doesn't matter who's on the floor, it doesn't matter who's on our roster. They give each other the freedom to be themselves. They empower one another to be themselves and to be the best version of themselves. And every time we've had a change, every time we've brought someone in, every time we've had rotational changes, they're for each other. They live the we over the me. And when you have that, it just gives you opportunities to do really special things.
After a breakthrough win, the question becomes simple. Do you fold under the pressure of expectation, or rise up and prove it wasn't a fluke? If Indiana can find a way to take Game 2, they won't just hold momentum, they'll officially transform from underdog upset artists into legitimate contenders for the finals. One fearless night, after nearly a decade of waiting, revealed exactly what this group is capable of. Coach Stephanie White said it best: "We take it one day at a time." We can't look too far in front of us, because that's when you start to lose your focus. If you're fired up for this team, drop fired up in the comments and let us know how proud you are of their fight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.